bill ya 2025
Yeah.
ndio? So this girl called Rose Njeri decides to start a website and tells people kujeni kwa hii website yangu mbaki mmeniambia what your views are and what the things that you're not happy with. And what ends up happening, they end up arresting her. They're thinking, is this Kenya? We understand, like Kenya, we've always been the country of we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, well, at least we've been evolving to that point. Yeah.
Yes. So hii ulionaje like history ya huyu Rose Njeri?
A bit of a misstep.
Mm.
A bit of a misstep. It's like your kid maybe breaks a glass and then you send them to Inda. Like,
Yeah.
so this could have easily just been even ignored.
Alafu kitu moja nanibamba nao, 1 minute they tell you online is nothing, kwa ground ni kila kitu, then they start arresting people na watu wanafanya vitu online. So it shows you how much they know that nowadays is a very thin line between online and ground. Najua kitambo the line was really huge.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa sikuhizi unapata huyu mtu wa Ocha yuko huko Ocha, yuko kwa shamba na yuko kwa TikTok.
Oh yeah. Kwanza TikTok, especially TikTok.
Yeah.
Hey, TikTok, the reach is wild, man.
And TikTok is not just about dances. Remember like when it started out ilikuwa major
I learned when I started doing content because of course you have to kind of platform yourself on each at least of the mainstream platforms. So I went on TikTok almost reluctantly because for me at the time I thought TikTok was challenges. But even as a guy who loves going down rabbit holes of world news, NASA stuff, Elon Musk, space. Bro, TikTok is the truth, man.
Yeah, that is the news guy.
The rabbit holes you can go down for TikTok are amazing.
So now this girl today, vile alifikishwa kotini, that is kulikuwa na David Maraga, Kalonzo and Eugene Wamalwa as her lawyers.
Eugene is a lawyer?
Yes, Eugene was a lawyer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Eugene is a lawyer. Yeah, na bro yake pia alikuwa lawyer, if I'm not wrong. Kijana. So ukicheck hivi, what do you think this makes? Because these are the guys who are supposed to be Ruto's opponents and they all look like they are pro freedom of expression, and now Ruto looks like he's not. Ukiona hivi?
I just look at the deeper layer. Apart from the fact that even putting or arraigning these ladies a misstep, because now you're giving even your own opposition a chance to shine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But for me, what's pissing me off more is this system seems to be so watertight because even the opposition is a system.
Yeah.
Even the third force is the system. Bro, I just look at that formation of people that they're trying to purport are good for Kenya. It's all such a sham. Yeah. So I've been mulling about this with my friends about how in bed together are all these guys. Is it that one for, it's like maybe we have a committee for an estate, and if I'm the chairman, there's certain benefits I can get that when I'm not chairman I can't get, but it doesn't mean I hate Moaf. And me and Moaf are running against each other. But if he wins, it's okay. If I win, it's okay. Because, bro, these guys are all the same system. Kalonzo is not opposition. You can't convince me.
Yeah.
You cannot convince me, Kina...
Eugene.
I'm 34. I've seen these guys since as soon as my cognitive function was there. I've been seeing them. A lot of them are career politicians. A lot of them have nothing to show. So the deeper issue for me is not even this lady and who's defending her. Yes, it was a misstep, the fact that they've gone that far, but these formations are shams to me.
But sasa unajua comes the tricky question. If these are the formations on like in 2027, are you voting or are you staying home?
I'm going to vote, and I have this naive hope that a real third force is going to emerge. And right now, that third force is staying clear because you know what happens to people when they emerge. All of a sudden, the guy has a case. All of a sudden, you're not fit to run. So I'm banking on there being a real third force. And a real third force is not... Nowadays, I think Kenyans have the wherewithal to see the real from the fake. They can tell when you're a system guy. So I'm just hoping that... And of course, you're seeing they're trying to really now go back to the tribal thing. They're trying to go back to the tribal cocoons. And unfortunately, I'm seeing like people are falling in line. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think on Saturday... on Sunday specifically. On Sunday, there was a whole Luo versus Kikuyu thing going on.
Which is so sad. Like people are being blinded by the divide and rule. the divide and rule in Kenya since colonization has been tribes. And now our pre-colonial colonizers are using the same thing to divide us, and people are forgetting. That's the problem with, and I think it goes to the rigors of life. Because why is it one moment there's such a general consensus of consciousness where everyone seems to be aware, like, okay, guys, we're being shafted by this said group. And then I think the rigors of life for your job, your hustle, your consciousness starts slipping away again, and it's just manipulated quickly. So I can't understand it, man. Like how Kalonzo is coming out as the guy, Matiang'i is coming out as the guy.
But kitu funny na mimi, I always say, as much as kunao old school politicians, and as much as they're the same, they're also not the same. They're also not the same with the level of, I would not expect Kalonzo to shut down social media. You
They're
understand?
not the same to the point where what I'd put it is, and this is a mistake we made last time,
Yes,
they're not the same enough for you to be apathetic about voting.
yes.
And that's the mistake. That's where they chased us last time. Aton is the same, but yes, they're
The same, but not the same.
not there.
Yes.
The levels they would go to in terms of different things, corruption, etc. are
Because kama
different.
Moi na Kibaki, Kibaki was Moi's vice president. Kibaki was a very different president from Moi.
Absolutely.
Nacheki. So hiyo ni kitu moja ile lazima tukue nayo, that because I am sure ikifika 2027 hasi wa Ruto atapushiwa narrative ya Kalonzo, he lacks anything, he has no drive, he has this me the only person ule na fear hapo ni Matiang'i. I feel like Matiang'i would end up being exactly like Ruto. Would he be more efficient? Yes, he would, but I don't expect abductions to stop under him.
Hey, that guy, we felt his
check
force even as a CS, man.
Yeah, so yes, you expect abductions to stop. So
So
that's why I'd rather go for the moderates. Me, funny enough, out of all our old school politicians, I'd go for Kalonzo.
Can I throw some names and then you tell me your thoughts briefly?
Yeah.
Let's start with, okay, you said Kalonzo, huh? What are your thoughts?
Kalonzo, saizi, out of the old pack, old school politicians, he's the one. Why? Name one major Kalonzo corruption scandal. One major.
I think being a softie and averse to making tough choices is also almost borderline criminal.
But you
Having
understand?
being
you
spineless.
Understand? What would having a spine look like? Raila?
I think just being able to take a stance more. This guy for the longest times, even optically, just looks like he's a guy of higher end apple.
Because Majuzi amesema he was invited. I think it's Ruto who said that the first person he talked to kujoin Gavani Kalonzo, and Kalonzo refused. So we can't say he does not have a stand. Maybe at some point he didn't have, but maybe he's evolved. So, and I feel like he's very moderate and very unajua, like ametulia, very measured. So that means we are coming from a guy who can't take criticism, who's very harsh, who's very angry, to someone who's very calm. I think that would be good for the country. To come from to
Okay.
Understand?
That's a fair point.
Yes, that would be.
Let me throw another one at you. Martha Karua.
Martha, I don't think she has what can I call it, like a national appeal. She has a certain level of baggage ile itamfollow kila pahali, whether justified or not, ile ya 2007 najua.
Or the
Yes,
like
the
grabbing
fact the fact alisaidia Kibaki to take it to the next level. But yeah, I think she'd make a better president than
I think she has the CV.
Yes.
And she can run the country well. My issue with her, that it's not personal, but the issue I see rather with her campaign is she lacks a likability element.
Yeah.
And likability permeates through the psyche of the people. I keep saying this. The reason Uhuru kind of course, by the 10th year, guys were fed up. But the reason he kind of survived-ish, because he appeared likable. You know, you see a guy, ho ho.
Yeah. Hizo mapicha zake.
It permeates through the masses, hugging a high school girl and in as much as it, in some cases, became cringe, it just si mtu mbaya.
Yeah.
Versus our current guy, we know that you can just tell, and then now she doesn't have that. I don't know, she just needs to work on her likability because the CV is there.
So uko US na unatrai kutuma do Kenya, baki umetumia LemFi. Na reason ya kutumia LemFi ni LemFi inakupatia the highest exchange rates. Alafu apart from that, juu ya LemFi unaweza baki umetuma $8,000 in one day, ama unaweza tuma $16,000 in one week, ama unaweza tuma $32,000 in one month. Hiyo ni up to 4 million shillings in one month, na ni simple kabisa. LemFi app unaweza baki umepata kwa App Store na pia unaweza ipata kwa Google Play. Another reason ya kusign up kwa LemFi ni wewe ni Iko Nini fan na umekuwa ukishindwa nizaje support Iko Nini. Naweza support aje asi. Kuna vile saizi jo mfuko ni mbaya. Lakini need kutumia mother dose, so siwezi tumia Iko Nini chochote. Kuna a very easy way ili unaweza kill two birds with one stone. Support your family na pia support Iko Nini. Na unafanyaje hivyo? Unabaki umesign up to LemFi using our QR code. Baki umescan QR code. Kama si hivyo, ubaki umetumia the link ile tumeseti kwa description. Na usisahau the first $100 ile utatuma, wewe mwenyewe utapata $20 cashback. Alafu sisi juu tumekurefer, pia sisi tutapata $20. Unacheki, utakuwa umesupport Iko Nini, ndio tuendelee kukupatia the conversations that you like. Na pia kitu inabamba kabisa ni saizi kuna vile LemFi ina support both M-Pesa paybill numbers na till numbers. Inamaanisha unabaki umelipia madhako internet ukiwa majuu, unaweza mlipia stima bado ukiwa majuu. Unaweza make sure that madhako iko both connected na pia keja yake iko lit up. Na hiyo ni courtesy of LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. Iko Nini.
I think she could make
but still if it was her against him, I'd go for her. Yes, I'd go for her. I just think that I don't think yuko na hiyo same nini as Kalonzo. I feel like Kalonzo.
So between Kalonzo and Karua, you said?
I think higher chances I'm saying Nini. I think it's Kalonzo. I think it's Kalonzo because of the fact that there's a lot of even Raila supporters who feel like they owe this guy something because he stuck with this guy through 3 election cycles. Nacheki.
Another
so
name.
I feel like hivyo.
Another name. Okia
naenda kumrusha na Maraga. Those two would be perfect. Those two would take us from, we are used to the politics of thuggery to a very different form of politics. Najua, politics of competence, politics of accountability, politics of
rule
those
of law.
Two. Yes, rule of law. Those two, if we just got our heads out of our asses and decided, you know what, we want a different Kenya. Remember the way tulitoka from Moi tukaenda to Kibaki. I think this shift would be bigger than Moi Kibaki, because now it would reach a level where first of all, the tribes are coming from Kisii and Teso. They don't have a lot of tribal baggage.
Two questions around that. Do you think they make it to the ballot unscathed? One, in terms of the other system, the other machinations that are known to be used to hinder people from running. That could be by way of corruption cases, smear campaign, and the worst case is being bought off. You know, there's that. So do you think they make it to the?
Yes. I think they do. But I think Kenyans will still go for the old school politicians.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Now, the other question is: are Kenyans evolved enough to not be tribal?
No.
That's so sad, eh?
It's so sad, and not just tribal. We've not evolved enough to vote for our best interests. Because
man, that is so sad.
An Okia presidency is presidency ile tutajua hii debt tunalipa ni juu ya nini.
So do you think Gen Zs who are many who will now have the ability to vote will still vote tribal?
I don't think so. Out of my Gen Zs kuna wale wata vote tribal still. Kuna wale shandusi kitu nowadays there's that thing tuwa moshadha. So there's that moshadha element. And I think with the moshadha element, a few of them will still vote tribal. Najua. And a lot of them will vote tribal. But there'll still be enough of them to swing the vote. To the candidate who's not Ruto.
Another name I'll throw, there's two more I'll ask you. There's if Morara makes it to the ballot, does he stand a chance?
I'm not sure. Because Twitter is so toxic, Because to me, he'd also make a better president than
our current guy for sure.
Yes. But I think Kenya pia kuna kugana ile jealousy level ya. Remember one of the reasons why the Gen Z movement never took off? Kulikuwa na ile jealousy. How dare you claim to be our leader? You understand?
Yeah.
When Sudi comes out and says, I'm a leader, no one has a problem. As soon as Morara comes out, now there's a problem.
Because
So
he's young and
yeah, because he's young and what, but that's another thing that I feel there'd be a shift kabisa, your shift here thinking like that I think would be
and
that
J-Dub,
shift would be
last
there.
but not least, what about J-Dub, Jimmy?
J-Dub I think is part of the status quo. Unacheki hata story yake, unajua tuko tunamjua for a very long time, we knew him as the controversial businessman, yes, but still him versus Ruto, I'll still give him.
You know what I think is, what I'd say about him that I think this is just my own opinion,
Yes.
is misunderstood, is that he didn't come from, his dad was wealthy, right?
Yes.
So of course, I'm not sure exactly how the dad's wealth was created, but for some reason, Jimmy and his brothers were able to continue the wealth cycle, right? And at some point, of course, this involved transacting business with government, which is normal world over. I mean, people do business with government, and if you're coming from a point of advantage from the previous generation, you will be in a better place to transact with government. Now, where I think Jimmy is different from the system is that he's not a guy of, if something costs 20 billion, let's say let's call it 400 billion.
Okay.
And I think
that would be good.
That level of greed that has happened in Kenya has robbed us of like 40 years. And if had it not been there, maybe it would have robbed us of 10 years of development.
Okay.
So that's where I think there's a stark difference between him.
Yeah, because vilo ungejua SGR and how much it would have cost.
It was meant to be 50. It ended up costing.
But you musamaga, like, I'd want to have your conversation here because I've looked at the numbers internationally. No number yake waga too low. Funny enough, he come to all this shit because
but the good thing with him, he can elaborate. So if you actually sat down with him,
yes,
I saw you had Willis.
I think I need to ask Willis and get here.
You didn't?
But I didn't because immediately that time alikuwa ametoka kudu podcast ingine and there was a lot of backlash that the conversation was 1, 2, 3. So niko na feel like ojoba hii stuff yetu ya podcasting is you also don't want to jump on a guest straight after another place where whatever, so you let it sima kidogo, vitu kadhaa happen and then you reach out.
What did you think of that episode?
Your podcasting in it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think there's a space for everyone. So whatever different kind of style approach, let guys do whatever they want to do.
Yes.
Man.
Yes, sina shida nayo. The only thing nasemaga ni sitakagi kuget someone straight after somewhere else.
Fair enough.
Yes, sitakagi hivo. Like even the times ile wasomona something like that has happened, wajue it was not my intention. Nachiki. Like because I always find like either takes away from this other podcast or it takes away from us.
What I don't do is I learned the hard. I don't watch if someone, let's say, like you see though you won't have someone fresh out. If I know I'm gonna have someone on that is been hard, I'd make sure I don't watch that one. Because the one time I did that, you find yourself
you go into the same conversation,
asking the same things, and I was like, nah, never again. Lesson learned.
Yeah. Najuaga hivo. You don't want to end up having the same conversations over and over. But so Udem, if we are to go back to yeye, let's look at the charge sheet. So the charge sheet, it's even more bullshit. So ilikuwa unauthorized interference with computer system. So I guess it's interference. Contrary to section 16 of computer misuse and so ikasemekana on the 19th day of May at 2001 at an unknown location within the Republic of Kenya, you knowingly made a program hosted at civicemail.netlify.app that automatically generated and sent mass emails to finance committee at parliament.go.ke, which is the official system of the finance committee, thereby interfering with the normal functioning of the system. Scare your bullshit.
That's frivolous, eh?
This is like you run a system that represents the country. If the system cannot handle a lot of emails it's cause number one, vile kitu tumetoka kusema juu ya Jimmy Wanjigi, where they inflated this and most probably wakanunua computer weak kabisa cause emails washai pataga emails ishaifanya computer yako ikahang or anything of yours kahang. Like
well, that shows there's no case there. Like man, sometimes these guys they show their hand a bit.
Yeah.
Just when you think no, they're a bit above that, they show their hand like
wanakuwaga na ujinga zingine. So and in the process they made that girl a hero. And now we didn't even know about her now we know about her, and now they've given her even a bigger voice. Najua hivo?
Yeah.
Right now everything that she does will be super interested in. Otherwise before it was just another person telling us about the finance bill, and most probably they've not read it. Najua hiyo ndio attitude wase wamekuwa nayo, because we've seen all these things. Hii finance bill is this, finance bill is that. So tuko like we niko sure hata hujaisoma.
Yeah,
Acha
yeah.
kutusumu. But this is what now wanafanya, and yeah, trying to take us the TZ route. So najua hiyo jinga ya TZ
Backward
it's-
never, bro.
yeah,
Backward
so
never, man.